Buenas tardes and good afternoon. Welcome to the Now Boarding Charla in partnership with who else? Southwest Airlines. And welcome to summer. That's only a week away. It's time to ask the question, are you ready to travel again? Are you ready to get out and enjoy new adventures at this halfway point of 2021? It's getting safer out there. After being shut out, soon it'll be time to get out. So the big question we're asking on this Charla is, where would you go and why? And if you do, fly Southwest Airlines, who are the official airlines of Hispanic Heritage Foundation and have been for over 20 years. So they're not a fly-by-night partner. And yes, that pun was intended. And it's almost Father's Day, so you got to deal with my dad jokes. So Southwest Airlines treats us like familia and will treat you like familia because they are familia. And they also won't charge you $50 to have your belongings with you at your destination and back to your house. So during this Charla, members of our community, including from the Southwest Airlines community, will discuss post-pandemic travel plans or aspirations over the summer, as well as experience for those of us who had recently traveled. And 2 weeks ago, I actually ventured out to San Antonio and then over to Rio Grande Valley for the first trip in a year and a quarter. And it was very liberating. And I also felt really safe. So during these Charlas, we will once again speak, listen, connect, and act, which was what we try to do through this award-winning virtual series. And I also want to encourage everyone to use the chat feature, but please set it to everyone and not just the panelists, which is the default for some reason. You could take a moment to do that now because we want to make sure that we hear from everyone. We want to hear your thoughts and also feel your energy. So also, please know we have an interpreter and instructions on how to access the Spanish and English interpretation will be on the chat from Andres. And I'm sure he'll be loading up in a minute. And so please, let's start with a very special friend to HHF, someone that has been on the ground as a partner to us, supporting our Youth Awards program and other youth-related efforts for years. And when I tell you she feels it, she really feels it. Just like my good friend Laura Nieto. Jill joined Southwest Airlines after her tenure in New York City's nonprofit community supporting workforce development for women. As a community outreach lead at Southwest, she connects with the company to local and national nonprofits like ours, business councils, and community-based organizations to help champion their missions. Because of all her efforts, Jill was honored for outstanding achievement in serving disadvantaged communities through corporate philanthropy and volunteerism from the city and state of New York, and is a Sheps Media 2020 Power Woman of New York honoree, and she's definitely that. She is an alumna of the Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City and is committed to mentoring many young professionals and students throughout the city. She has a huge heart, and she also serves on the board of directors for the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce and the Council for Airport Opportunity. She is a graduate of S.I. Newhouse School of Public Communications at Syracuse and lives in the New York region with her husband, who is Puerto Riqueño, and her son. Let's hear from Jill.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Tony. Thank you so much. So glad to be here. Long time HHF supporter, of course, big fan of the Charlas. Yes, I want to thank Brenda and the HHF team for gathering us here today for Now Boarding. And of course, for the continued partnership that Tony mentioned between HHF and Southwest. It's fantastic. And by the way, this is a very big week at Southwest Airlines. We officially turned 50 years old. And today marks the beginning of our birthday week. We are flooded with activities and celebrations to mark this huge milestone across the company. We're so excited. And we thought we'd start with celebrating with all of you. So thank you for tuning in. Because you're all travel and hospitality enthusiasts, we hope you'll find value in hearing from some real experts and some outstanding Southwest cohorts. These are colleagues of mine from all over the country that represent a wide variety of roles. They play a very important part in our company culture, our commitment to customers, and they're just fabulous people. So we'll be hearing from lots of folks today, like we said, and like you see on your agendas. And we'll also, from the Southwest world, hear from Ray in Tampa, Myrna, who works for us in Las Vegas, but she's currently in Denver. And then Jennifer, who's in San Antonio, but who called me from her Puerto Rico phone number. So she might be able to tell us about both. So if you like any of these cities, let's get in the chat, ask questions, engage with these guys because they want to hear from you. But before I start, I have the great privilege of introducing the Now Boarding Charla guest of honor, and that's Captain Bob Waltz. Captain Bob Waltz is our Vice President of Flight Operations here at Southwest, and he has served us for more than 21 years. He joined the Southwest family in 2000 as a first officer, became a captain 7 years later. His primary responsibility is serving our nearly 10,000 flight operation employees, 10,000. He provides leadership and support to 11 bases, numerous headquarters technical functions, and our world-class pilot training center. Bob is a Southwest Czech Airman, and I'll let him tell you about that role. And he's a military committee member for the Southwest Pilot Association. He's flown on a wide variety of aircraft throughout his lifetime and has held many roles at Southwest Airlines. Bob has additionally flown combat and combat support missions in the Middle East. And after 30 years of service, he retired from the Air Force Reserve in 2016. And one of his many experiences in the military was playing a very important role for FEMA. And that was as the Emergency Preparedness Officer for the state of Texas. He holds a BS in Human Factors Engineering from the US Air Force Academy, an MS in Educational Psychology from Florida State, and is a PhD candidate in Aeronautical Science at the University of North Dakota. So he's been a few places and he's still learning. And in his free time, he enjoys family, friends, all things outdoors and on the water. He's thrilled to be here today. He will speak to you on his life in leadership, life as a pilot, lessons he's learned along the way, and what's happening at Southwest and what we're doing to ensure customers are ready and confident to fly again. So let's engage with Bob. He's here for you. Tony, my Southwest colleagues and Charla audience, I'm pleased to present to you Captain Bob Waltz. And Tony, take it away.
Go ahead, Captain Bob. Do I start with the questions or we're going to hear from? By the way, happy 50th Southwest Airlines, even though Captain Waltz is only 49. I'm glad to see that your company has outaged you. So if you could, we'd love to hear a few words from you, Captain Waltz, and then I'll circle back when you're done and ask you a couple of questions that I'm really curious about.
Sure, no worries. And thank you, Jill, for that very lengthy introduction there, which I'm wondering, who is that guy you're talking about? I think I want to hang out with him, but no, thank you. That was very kind. And to my fellow Southwest cohorts here in the meeting, hello. And Tony, we had a great moment before the meeting to talk about his journey down to South Texas, which I want to talk about in just a moment too. We're so happy to be here today, here at, from all of us here at Southwest with your organization, because we're proud members of and proud supporters of. As Jill had alluded, one of the roles, a little bit about myself, and then I'll talk a little bit about Southwest. My sister and I were originally from the East Coast. We're first generation college graduates in our family. So, and it's a very important thing. And that's why I've kind of continued to pursue education throughout my career. But with that, I always felt the need that I wanted to help other folks who may not be lucky enough to have that experience as well. So one of my favorite jobs when I was in the Air Force Reserve was working as what they call an Air Force Academy Admissions Liaison Officer. I actually was the director for the unit that covered all of South Texas. So we covered really just south of Austin, all the way down to the Gulf, all the way west to the Rio Grande, all the way west out to El Paso. So we had a very big geographic area where we promoted and then worked with young men and women who were thinking about wanting to attend a military academy. One of my favorite areas to work was in the South Texas Valley, basically known as the Valley. And there, I felt very privileged to work in that area because at the time, and it still is that today, not only is it an area with many first generation college students, but at the time it was the largest and fastest growing region of first generation high school graduates in the United States. And I just took immense pride in spending time with folks there. What great young men and women, the candidates we had. And unfortunately, I lost some of them to other military academies. All of them went on to do, great things. But there was never a wasted moment spent working in the community, and the outreach and the warmth and just the camaraderie that was developed and the pride is just something that carried so well into not only military service, but service, I think, to our nation and I would say to humanity, that when you come out of a military academy, you are well set up for life after the academy as well. So again, it really does my heart good to be able to come and maybe re-engage in an area where I haven't had a chance to engage as much. So I think Tony's talked me into going down on a trip with him next time he goes. So I hope he'll look me up, because I'm a big fan and a supporter of the very important work that's going on at the border right now. So that's a little bit about like who I am and what motivates me. So like Jill, I love working with young people. I just think every moment we invest with our young men and women who are going to lead us tomorrow is time well spent, and an investment that will reap dividends. So that being said, time at Southwest, it's been wonderful. I came off of active duty at about the 15-year point in my Air Force career, and then did the rest in the Guard and Reserve. So I'm not 100 years old. If you add 30 years of Air Force service plus 22 now at Southwest, no, I'm not 80. Some of it was concurrent. But what a blessing it's been to work at a company like Southwest, and a place where you are free to be yourself, a place where we want you to bring your best self to work. And we hope that by expressing your best self, that leads to outstanding customer service for everyone who chooses to spend a little part of their day with us. We are a customer service company that happens to fly airplanes. And I think it's important. Herb said that many years ago, and it's still true today. We fly airplanes exceptionally well. I take great pride in the quality of the men and women who operate both on the flight deck and also back in the cabin. Our crews work very well together. And what a crazy couple of years it's been now, about a year and a half through the pandemic. Again, I think like most of us, something we thought we would never see, couldn't really conceptualize the impact it would have. To give you some idea of the scope, as an airline, almost in the course of a week, we went from flying 700 plus airplanes is the size of our fleet. This was in 2019, about 4,000 flights a day, and about 450,000 passengers, customers a day, to almost immediately we had to draw down. At the low, we were running about 1,500 flights a day. And even that was just to move the airplanes and move, we were still carrying some supplies. We weren't carrying very many people. We were getting crews back and forth to training and whatnot as it was still going on until it stopped. But to go from an airline that was here to an airline that was here, and go from a nicely profitable, well-run business to a not profitable at all, very well-run business almost overnight was really just earth-shattering to a lot of people. And I know so many folks were impacted in so many ways. I don't want to try to equate that with the experience we had, but really a gear change unlike I thought we would ever see. Our team pulled together, which I hope is something that you see and our customers see. We like working with each other. We love serving our customers. Even in this environment when there was so much that was unsure, we took great steps and put great effort into ensuring a safe travel experience for our customers. When little was known, masks, how do you clean the airplanes, antimicrobial treatments, which we began and still do, the utilization of the HEPA, the air filter on our filtration system on our aircraft. That's basically a surgical theater quality air filtration system that's always been there, but now even more important that you use it than we had in the past. All of these things, social distancing, how do we work and ensure that our crews are safe and as well as our customers? As we all knew, we all lived through that time, a lot of questions, a lot of uncertainty. And from there, we were able to kind of make our way through. Since then, and I know Tony will have some questions about this in just a moment, we've seen steady gains. The vaccinations are really making their way now, not only around the United States, but around the world. Thank you, to everyone who put work into that. And thank you to everyone who gets vaccinated. It is one of those things that you're not only taking care of yourself, you're taking care of folks around you. So I'll make a small pitch, please, if you can, and you medically can do it. It's one of those things that I think is going to help us get through. And we've seen that. We have come back to, as I mentioned, 4,000 flights a day, 450,000 passengers, down to a low of maybe 1,500 flights a day. And there were days where we might have 2 people on a flight, no people on a flight. There were long periods of that. To where we are today, just for our June schedule, we are now back to about 3,500 flights a day. And I think today we're moving 480,000 people on those 3,500 flights a day. Folks are back, they're traveling, we're still masking, we're still, cleaning the cabins, we've got the same air filtration, but folks are getting out there again. So we're excited to see that happen. Little by little, we'll see travel return to normal, but at the rate we're going, I think by the end of the summer, we're going to be very, very close. So it's a tale of success. It's a tale of great folks. And I hope we can answer some questions for you. And I hope I instill a little bit of confidence about getting out there and getting back and connecting with those people and places you love, because we'd love to take you. So Jill, Tony, I'm all yours.
No, thank you, Captain. You actually answered one of the questions in terms of what are we looking forward to in terms of air travel, and those trends make us feel safer as well, because we know that others feel safe. But I have to just tell you that at the low point, when your entire industry was struggling and the entire country and world was struggling, I remember that you guys wouldn't sell middle seats, even though almost all of the other airlines were selling those middle seats out of desperation that somebody wants to sit in them on the flights that you were flying out. And you guys said safety first, and your customers are always first. So I just want to tell you that we noticed during that time, and now, of course, it's good to have those middle seats filled now that everybody is getting vaccinated, or should, and still wearing masks as well, to make double sure that we're safe. Tell us real quickly about the Southwest Promise and how it will continue to provide the best safety measures as we continue to open up from this pandemic. I think you covered some of it during just now during your opening remarks, but I like the framing of the Southwest Promise. What is that promise?
Sure, no, and that's a very good question. Thank you, Tony. So the Southwest Promise really has to do with all of the things we're going to do to ensure that our customers have a safe, reliable, and kind of repeatable experience, and that they gain comfort and confidence to travel. So it starts with the overnight cleaning of the airplanes with, as we mentioned, antimicrobial, basically, which is a spray which is designed to kill COVID and a lot of other germs for that matter on contact, and it persists. That's what's nice about it. It persists for a long duration. We use it more often than we would have to ensure that it doesn't expire, but that cleaning continues to go on. We continue to clean the aircraft throughout the day, with an emphasis on a heavy cleaning on the overnight, and then spot checking throughout the day. Again, surfaces, all of those areas that, we want folks to not only perceive the airplane as clean, but know that it's clean. The work around masks right now, and a lot of folks, have a lot of thoughts around masks. And is there a little bit of mask fatigue? Sure, there is. But that being said, our most recent customer data shows that our customers still feel very comfortable wearing a mask on the airplane. And it very well may be. Right now, the order for mask wear is not due to expire until September 13th. We may be, the airport, public transportation, and the airplane may be the last place where masks are mandatory in the United States. And that's okay. We'll support, we understand. We want to make sure our folks feel confident when they travel. So these layers, the air conditioning system, how we use our HEPA filters, how we maintain those, the fact we keep positive air movement on the aircraft, all of those things are factored into our daily operational procedures. So we feel very confident with the product we're providing our customers. So I hope that helps answer your question.
It does, and thank you. Like I said, I just traveled just 2 weeks ago, and I felt completely safe up and back on Southwest Airlines. So with that, I am going to pivot from Captain Waltz, to a good friend who appreciates traveling more than anybody I know. Captain Waltz, I think she's logged more miles than you in light of your amazing career in the military as well as at Southwest Airlines. She was also on my trip to Texas, I said. She's a very good friend. She's one of our partners, just like Southwest Airlines is. So please welcome Celeste Carrasco, who is Director of Public Affairs at AT&T.
Hi, Tony. Thank you so much. This is like my favorite conversation because I love to travel. So I was like, ooh, yes. And what more than a background of a hotel, right? So obviously I am traveling today. So, super important conversation. It's that balance between safety and enjoyment, right? Or business. And for me, I never stopped traveling, even during COVID, due to the fact that I utilize travel as my Zen space. I love to travel. That's how I build mommy and my daughter time. That's what we do together. Mommy has a busy schedule, but we always find time to get away. And this industry was heavily hit. I mean, the numbers don't lie, and but it never. They never stepped back from their customer service promises in ensuring that we not only we get there safe, but also we do it in a healthy manner. And I'm so proud of all the work. These folks were working through a pandemic, and they really are the unsung heroes for so many businesses that were able to maintain their their doors open because they had to either get their employees from place A to place B, or doctors, or first responders, or somebody like me maintained her sanity because an airline like Southwest would fly me to a location where I could go into a national park, because those were the only things that were really open during the time of the pandemic. And that became my escape, right? My daughter and I started visiting all the national parks in the United States, and we didn't do them all yet, but we are at, a good solid 20. And we're not going to stop. This is an investment. It's an investment in the economy. It's an investment in our own, in our growth, our personal growth, to get outdoors and to get to see places that without the pandemic I probably would not have put a priority on. And never did I feel that unsafe. I think the airline industry, the car rental industry, the hotel industry had understood that they needed to figure out how to operate in this new environment. And they were operating with high standards before, but now they kind of had to prove it to us as the customer that indeed those high standards were in place. So sometimes it's just a matter of extra communications as to what is being done. Again, in my family, we are all travelers. My mom travels, my dad travels. So for us, this is a natural conversation. But I can understand if somebody feels a little bit hesitant. They may be like, oh, the what if. And I respect that. Traveling is a personal choice. But from my point of view, please don't make that personal choice because you don't feel safe. Make that personal choice because you just want to wait, or you just don't want to participate right now. But for those of us that have been traveling, I can tell you with 100% certainty, and now that I'm fully vaccinated as well, with the miles that I have logged in the last 18 months, I did not get sick, and I was very careful as to how I did things. My boyfriend calls it the CCK, which is the Celeste cleaning kit. I travel with that everywhere, and I sanitize. I don't expect other people to do the sanitation, and for me, if they do it, fantastic. I do it right on top of whatever they are doing. You can clean something twice. It's going to be fine. But I think the most important thing as a traveler that I want everybody to kind of take away from this conversation is that we are going back to into opening the doors of travel, but it doesn't look exactly the same. So as a traveler, I recommend that you do your homework, become an educated consumer. Things are not, exactly the way that you remember them. The lines may be a little bit longer. Please be patient and be kind to your fellow travelers. Be kind to these employees that are coming to work and interacting with you. This isn't, this is our job to educate ourselves, really. That's what it boils down to. Read up, see what the rules are, see what's allowed. Don't expect that things are going to be exactly as you recall them. If you are required to wear a mask, you wear a mask. And if you don't feel that that's the type of travel that you want to do, then please wait until you feel, those things are lifted, because right now it's just incredibly, the level of anxiety that so many people are having because you don't know if a fight is going to break out over a mask wearing. I mean, come on, folks. It's been 18 months. We know how to do this. Let's do it right. And again, just all I could say right now is just be kind and do get out there and travel and enjoy yourself. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them. But other than that, I think I went over my 5 minutes because I get so excited.
That is a real pro right there in terms of traveling, dropping knowledge. Thank you, Celeste. And now let's hear from Jennifer Rodriguez, who is in customer service operations at Southwest Airlines. And I think a lot of this resonated for you too, Jennifer, in terms of what Celeste was saying, that I really appreciate the part about being kind and understanding that people are putting themselves at risk to be able to serve you and make sure you get to where you're going to go. So Jennifer, you're up.
Thank you. And thank you guys for inviting me. It's a privilege and I'm so excited. So being patient right now is very important, being kind, because it's been almost a year and a half and everybody is still getting accustomed to all the changes. We're still changing, as the day goes by. So let's see, let's start. So my full name is Jennifer Rodriguez. Right now I'm in CS&S bilingual department and I am in San Antonio, Texas. So on July 8th, I will actually have 3 years with Southwest. So I'm excited because at the beginning, it was really hard, getting to know everything. And my cohorts would say, don't worry, time will pass by. And it's true. Time does pass by really quickly. And right now I'm serving the Spanish and English customers, all the way from simple questions to like the most difficult situations in reservations. And again, patience, kindness, and active listening is very important. And so right now, how I feel about the world returning to travel again, I do feel that it's time, since last year, a lot of passengers and clients have been at their home, getting accustomed to all these changes. I think it is time. I still feel that there's people that are not still ready to travel. It's just a moment to get prepared. And with so many things going on, I do, inquire passengers to get a little bit more comfortable to where you want to travel to. with how many family members, prepare for the restrictions, because there's still restrictions with with some places, not all of them. And another thing is also as Celeste was saying, I also traveled during the pandemic. It was bittersweet because there was not a lot of people traveling. You know, you see the aircraft almost empty, which on a daily basis without COVID, you wouldn't see that. And so the TSA lines, checking in, baggage claim, all of this was a little bit, well, not a little bit, but a lot more simpler than just a regular day traveling without COVID. Now, you would also see so many people not traveling that you would know something's going in the background. Aviation was hit so drastically. So yeah, it was bittersweet, and I was actually able to travel to a lot of places within the US. There is so much to offer, so many places to see within the US. And like Celeste said, with my family, I would bring small kits to prepare and also clean the areas where we would be. We didn't get sick traveling. And also, we would just prepare and make lists of places that we could actually go. Taking the PCR test, I already lost count of how many we were able to do. And my advice for travelers to get back out there is have patience. I know it's been a long time coming, but have patience, kindness. There is a certain discipline that comes with traveling. Just prepare also for where you want to travel to. If you're not comfortable, you can still wait, get vaccinated. And when the time comes and you feel comfortable, just start traveling. And when you start traveling again, it's not going to feel like a vacation. It's going to be more, it's going to take a different sense of connecting with people, connecting with the places that you're going, cultural history. It's going to be very interesting. And lastly, in San Antonio, just a fun fact, it's really special because there's so many things that San Antonio has to offer. There is cultural and the Alamo. People are so friendly over here in San Antonio. And if I'm not mistaken, San Antonio has the honor by the UNESCO to be the second city of the diversity in gastronomy. So that's really interesting. So for all those foodies, visit San Antonio, travel with Southwest. You guys are going to have a lot of fun.
Great. Thank you so much, Jennifer. And I was just in San Antonio. I can tell you the food is on point.
It's amazing.
Yeah, no, everywhere you go. So next up, we're switching to another Rodriguez, Andrea Rodriguez, who is Director of Sales and Marketing for the DoubleTree. It's, like I said before, it's important where we're going somewhere to have a home away from home. And we're thrilled to have Andrea join us, who's Director of Sales and Marketing for DoubleTree.
Hello, hi everyone. It's so good to be here with you today. It was so nice to hear from Captain Waltz, Antonio, and Celeste that Antonio and Celeste recently were here. So nice to have them as our guest and make them feel home here in McAllen, and nice to hear from Captain Waltz about his experiences here in the Rio Grande Valley. So I've been here for 18 years. Certainly like everybody else, it was a trying year. We went from about 150 employees to 15. So I was one of the essentials. And we actually, like everybody, the occupancy or the numbers had gone way down. But then I remember getting a call because we're by the border, and unfortunately our Hispanic community was hit hard with COVID in the area. So we ended up housing over 200 nurses, so traveling nurses that were here. So it was scary coming to work at times. What was great is that Hilton does such a good job. I don't know if you know, DoubleTree Suites is part of the Hilton brand. We have now 15 different hotel brands under our umbrella, but they came up with a great program. One of the first hotels to come out with Hilton with a great clean program, and the one that Hilton did is called the Hilton Clean Stay, and they partnered up with Lysol, so that was a really big partnership on their end. They pivoted quickly, and you know, after that, it was even harder to get Lysol products for everybody else. But that certainly definitely gives people the peace of mind that you need when you're traveling. Like some of the others mentioned, you know, I did some traveling mainly through driving, but I did take a trip to Phoenix, Arizona recently. I had a great experience. It was just so nice. Like you had said, Antonio, you know, being able to hug people and connect with people. I had a great experience, and we're starting to see not only our essential travel that is here due to a lot of the factors at the border. We have a lot of government. We have been running close to 100% for 10 months. So it has taken a toll because of our lack of, you know, being able to hire as many people. So as Jennifer and Celeste said, you know, patience is definitely a key virtue now. You have to go in with a right mind frame. I do like to, what Celeste said about checking to see what the different hotels or airlines are offering. It is important to call in advance. A lot of people think you're going to have housekeeping every day, and that's just not the case anymore. That has completely changed in our industry. Same thing with breakfast. We've been serving a hot breakfast since July, but I've gone to most hotels and maybe gotten a little bag in the morning. So again, you don't want to, fall short of your expectations. So it's better to have the knowledge so you won't be disappointed. And I'm so happy to be with you today. I think we'll see some more of you as the months go on for what you're doing and what you may be doing with Sister Norma Pimentel, who's an angel on earth. So any way that I can help anybody on the panel or attendees, I'm happy to help. And just like San Antonio, we have some amazing food and culture, and we are here with open arms for you, and not only at our hotel, but the entire Rio Grande Valley. Thank you all for having me today.
Thank you, Andrea. We call her La Prima because she is the cousin of Ramiro Cavazos from USHCC, and he proudly introduced her to us, and she was extremely helpful. When you roll in over 50 deep to go do your delegation at the border in support of our migrant community, and she's making things happen for us because it was sold out, and she made room for us somehow, some way. I just really appreciate those efforts because you knew the mission that we were on along the border, and you made us feel very comfortable like we were at home. So thank you for that, amiga. And we did go to Delia's to get some tamales that we're still eating through. So
you can freeze
it. So thank you for that. You always feel at home, especially when you have Veronica down there. She always makes us feel at home from Rio Grande Valley, University of Texas, RGV. So now welcome José Márquez, que es un piloto comercial, videógrafo, paracaidista, y free diver. He will be doing his presentation in Spanish, even though I've never said the word paracaidista before. So please welcome José Márquez.
Saludos, un placer a todos. Como dijo Antonio, mi nombre es José Márquez, tengo 29 años, soy piloto comercial y les voy a dar un poquito la perspectiva desde mi punto de vista como primero en línea de estar viajando. Antes de que empezara el COVID, yo trabajaba en Santa Cruz como piloto de ambulancia aérea. Luego que empieza el COVID, las camas se llenaron de pacientes de COVID, o no había trabajo para transportar a pacientes con otras condiciones. Así que me sacaron del trabajo porque había sido de los más nuevos estar ahí. Luego de ahí entro en el mundo de lo que es volar aviones privados para dueños de él. Y hoy en día pues hago eso y volamos órganos también. La parte de viajar en pandemia, pues yo empecé desde mayo a viajar en pandemia. Al principio, como todo, estábamos asustados, no había mucha información. ¿Qué pasará? ¿Me puedo pegar a la gente? ¿No me puedo pegar? ¿Qué van a hacer las líneas aéreas? Que ya Captain Bob pues dio un resumen de lo que estaban haciendo. So que al principio fue un poquito frustrante el no saber, pero ya a este tiempo, al día de hoy, es bien seguro. Se los puedo decir yo que soy piloto, o sea, el proceso que se usa, no tanto como dijo Captain Bob en la línea aérea, también nosotros, los aviones privados, la manera que limpiamos y tratamos de que el cliente y no solo ellos, también el equipo de trabajo de nosotros se sienta seguro. Cuando llega a un hotel, que yo he viajado un montón en esta pandemia, al principio estaba un poquito nervioso con la limpieza, lo limpiarán bien, pero yo pienso que, como dijeron aquí, no es responsabilidad solamente del hotel, sino también de uno mismo. Si no te sientes 100% seguro, pues trae tus wipes para desinfectar, usa tu mascarilla en todo momento. Por ejemplo, yo ahora mismo estoy en Florida y en el área donde estoy que tocarla, nadie está usando mascarilla. Yo siento que la tengo que usar, yo la uso y no afecto a nadie por usarla. Al igual con el hand sanitizer, tengo conmigo propio, si alguien lo necesita lo ayudo. También bien importante la educación, el educarnos y no dejarnos llevar por lo que yo llamo rumor de pasillo. Que un amigo me dijo, nos vamos a ir a la fuente y saber dónde realmente tenemos que poner nuestro esfuerzo de educarnos bien y para no estar llevando un mensaje realmente erróneo y que la cadena siga afectándose, porque para mí la pregunta más importante es ¿por qué debemos viajar? No solo yo viajo por mis habichuelas, como decimos, porque yo trabajo en esto, de esto vivo, pero viajo también por conocer a personas, viajar a lugares hermosos, conocer culturas nuevas, y esas culturas nuevas siempre aprendemos y podemos coger un poquito de todo eso y aplicarlo en nuestra vida y ser mejores personas. Así que yo pienso que wrapping up, como que concluyendo todo, lo más importante es vamos a cuidarnos no solo a nosotros, sino a los demás, para que cada día seamos más los que estemos viajando y esto eche para adelante y salgamos de esta pronto.
Muchas gracias por compartir. And next up, and just before we go over there, I just want to shout out Gloria Rodriguez, who I see is active on the chat. She's a past Hispanic Heritage Award honoree and represents our community so proudly in everything she does. So just shout out the Pride of San Antonio. And I see you active on chat. And I love when you take part in all our programs because you are an embodiment of what we try to do over here. So next up is Mirna Recinos, who is administrative lead at Southwest. Mirna.
Well, it's a pleasure. Thank you for the invitation. As you mentioned, I'm a senior station admin in Las Vegas, which of course is a great location, one of our favorite cities to visit and travel. It is actually, what did I read? It's one of the third best top choices for business conventions, and a city where, of course, it is known for all its entertainment, shopping, fine dining, nightlife, and of course, gambling. Las Vegas is a city that is known by several different ways, like the City of Lights, capital, city, gambling capital of the world, entertainment capital of the world, the marriage capital of the world, and of course, Sin City. But it's interesting that Sin City comes from the gambling and not from other things you might assume, because gambling is legal in Las Vegas. And that's why it makes it such a great destination for so many people. But Las Vegas has been my home for the last 30 some years. I actually moved back from Guatemala, where I was born, and moved straight into Vegas. And I've loved living in that city and always wanted to work for the travel industry. Ever since I was a little girl, I loved traveling. And the more times I could take off and land, it was just like a dream for us. And thankfully, I had the chance to start several years ago with another airline. And later, I'm very happy to say that I was able to get into Southwest, which, as they've mentioned before, Captain Bob Waltz and my other co-workers have mentioned, it's such a great company, a company that, it was already mentioned, we're about to hit 50 years. And coincidentally, today, 11 years ago, I was hired with Southwest. So yay for me, 11-year anniversary. And very nice touch, Gary Kelly sent me an email this morning saying, happy anniversary. Just little details like that make such a great company. And I was gonna mention too, Vegas is also very proud to have just started on June 6th, we started flying to Hawaii, which is a very big deal because as you know, Vegas is also called the 9th island. So we have a large Hawaiian community in Vegas, and now we fly nonstop, twice a day to Honolulu. We will start Maui in about 2 weeks, twice a day, nonstop. And in September, we start Kona and Lahui, also nonstop from Vegas. So as you can see, we are flying, we are moving a lot of people. We are probably at post-pandemic or pre-pandemic numbers. Our flights are 95% full most of the time. We are up to almost 200 flights a day. So people are getting used to traveling again. And of course, patience, like everybody said, is the biggest thing because a lot of changes, a lot of lines that you have to go through. And it's just, if you are patient, you will definitely enjoy your travel experience. Also, another point from Southwest, I have to say it's such a great company. It has given me the opportunity to do temporary work in another city. Today, I'm in Denver. I am helping out because Denver is also growing. Their flights are back to pre-pandemic numbers. They are hiring. Today, we had 20 new hires. First time in 16 months. The excitement around here was incredible. And we're gonna continue hiring in different areas, in different cities. I encourage anybody who wants to work for Southwest, go ahead and do it. Great company and a great opportunity to travel, not only on Southwest, other airlines, travel the world. And I hope to see you one day traveling by.
Thank you very much, Mirna. I probably will see you really soon. So next up is an old friend of over 20 years who also went to University of Maryland. Please welcome Albertina Ponce Brett, who I still call Tita, and I'm looking forward to hearing from her. She's the lead associate at Booz Allen Hamilton. Let's hear it, Tita.
Thanks so much, Tony. Thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you, Southwest and Captain Waltz. I am a first-generation American. My parents are from Honduras, so I see a lot of the Central American countries represented, so that's great. I'm also the first to go to college. And as Tony mentioned, I'm the first in my family to go to graduate school, and I got my MBA in marketing. So I'm a communicator, so I actually put together some slides. This is from last week at a University of Maryland event that I attended, but if you go to the next slide. And I'm originally, I'm living currently in Fairfax, Virginia. So I'm a visual learner, so I'm going to take you on some of the travels that I've taken with my family since COVID. So in June, we took a road trip to Cape Coral, Florida, and then these are some of the images that were taken. It was very different, and as some people already mentioned, you know, we are, my husband and I are loyal Marriott members, and you know, we frequented several Marriotts, and as someone mentioned from DoubleTree earlier, each of the hotels was very different. A lot of it was based on the restrictions for the state. So, you know, we traveled pretty soon after, but, you know, we did it on our own. We found a place that we'd already been to, we were familiar with, and we could control like our own environment. So we cautiously traveled. And, you know, here are some of the images, and this is one of my happy places in Florida. And Tony, you'll be proud to see the Maryland, you know, seems to be a continuous story. If we go to the next slide, please. So I'm originally from Connecticut, born and raised in Greenwich, Connecticut. I saw someone in the chat wants to go to New England. So if you want to link up with me on LinkedIn, I'm happy to give you some suggestions. I also love the water. So again, when we traveled specifically here because we have an elderly family friend who we'd like to see as often as we can because he's, you know, older and with restrictions, just wanted to make sure that we were able to visit with him. So this is actually the view from his house. We did have to ask his son whether or not we could come visit, but again, needing to be creative with the time that we had, but trying to visit with family and friends. And that picture, and that's me, by the way. We took up a lot of bike riding because we haven't been back to the gym yet, but we've become avid bikers. So we actually took our bikes when we went up to Connecticut and New York. Next slide, please. So I love also on our adventures, we would go out to eat and a lot of Italian food up in Connecticut. So that was one of the places. And I'm a proud nutmegger from Connecticut. So that's the state seal underneath the flag. And then my theme for this was finding the silver lining, and I love rainbows. So I think that although it was a trying time for everyone, you know, we tried to visit family and friends as well as we could, but also see new sites. Next slide, please. So I'll quickly go through this, but in terms of being creative, we had a chunk of time at the end of the holidays. So we actually took a road trip from Virginia to Tennessee with our ultimate destination being Charleston, South Carolina. So my husband actually put together the trip and we went to a few different distilleries. I used to play the violin, so that's one of the things, that's why that image is there. And then every day we'll make it the best we can. That was like a motto that really resonated with me. But as a marketer, I love to pick up different images along my trips about what's, you know, within the vicinity. Next slide, please. And then this is another one. This was around the holidays, so it was kind of fun to see the barrels all lined up. And this is in Franklin, Tennessee. Next slide, please. And then I'm from Greenwich, so it was actually kind of fun to see there's a wall or a beam that has all these different badges of different polices. So it was neat to see my hometown represented in this random small town of Tennessee. And then my husband was in the Navy, so just trying to, you know, capture some of the images. And I'm a storyteller, and this was our guide for our tour, so I really appreciated the stories that he shared with us. Next slide, please, which I believe is the last one. So our ultimate destination was Charleston, South Carolina. And these were some of the cool images. We were there to visit with our, my sister-in-law and my niece. But these were some of the images that kind of spoke to me. And for those of you who have more of a scientific background, it was kind of neat. We went to 3 distilleries, and that's actually an image of some of the things that we learned. We haven't flown yet, but we are looking to head out sometime mid in the summer to visit family and friends. But I do want to share my favorite Southwest story was when I traveled with work to Oklahoma City and met a scout from the St. Louis Cardinals. So that actually was a fun trip. But thank you all for the opportunity to share a little bit about my journey and travels during this unique time.
Thank you so much, Tita. I love hearing about your travels and hearing about your husband. I remember when you guys were just dating. So you're definitely one of those people that I want to see off a Zoom and in person. So closing us out is my man, Jaime Lopez, who is a past youth awardee, which is the program that Southwest Airlines also sponsors. He went to Stanford, and now he's project manager, Government of District of Columbia, Office of Human Rights. Also, he is from the Rio Grande Valley, and he's from PHARR, P-H-A-R-R. And he has to be reminded of that everywhere he goes. I think he carries that Valley pride everywhere he's been, whether it's in Palo Alto or in Washington, D.C., and a short stint in Las Vegas, too. So with that, Jaime, close us out, brother.
Thank you so much, Tony. I just want to make sure I'm visible for everyone on the team. Yeah, Yeah, actually, my first Southwest flight was 8 years ago when I flew to Miami for the National Youth Awards in 2013. But after that, Southwest was Old Faithful throughout college and even after, because it's one of the few airlines that hits the Rio Grande Valley down in South Texas out of the Harlingen Airport. Up until recently, I went with Tony and a bunch of other organizations, as we was discussed earlier during the Charla, to visit Sister Norma, and it was a great opportunity for me to go down and see my family and my brothers and my family down there. But like I said, Southwest during college and even after college, it's been able to take me back to Harlingen, and it's a reliable airline for me. There are other airlines down in South Texas that are economy, but they don't have the 2 free bags. And as a college student, that was always essential. I guess my favorite Southwest moment was up 2 weeks ago, which was my first international Southwest flight, going to Aruba out of BWI. And that was the most convenient option, actually. Even like trying to fly out of Texas to Aruba, trying to fly out from Miami to Aruba, BWI was the spot. So I want to commend Southwest on that. Want to commend them on how accessible the times were and how convenient they were. And also a huge compliment to the ordering of the drinks with, your hands. I don't know how many other airlines have done that because I haven't flown much during COVID with other airlines, but I do want to commend Southwest on that. And other than that, I know for sure Southwest had made me feel safe traveling before COVID, but it made it feel a lot safer during the pandemic. And now as we're exiting, I definitely see myself continuing to fly Southwest. So thank you, Southwest, for that.
Okay, I don't know what the hand gesture was for more margaritas, but you can show us that later as you are ordering those on your flight. So that'll do it. Thank you, Jaime. Thank you, everyone. Hope you enjoy your travels this summer and hug somebody you haven't in a while. That includes me. If you stop off in Washington, D.C., I'll take all hugs. Thank you, Southwest Airlines, for helping us expand our mission by expanding where we go. I've always said we're as effective as where you take us, and we're very grateful for that. Stay tuned for our next Charla. Everyone will be celebrating Pride, so happy Pride Month. Always important to represent, and we look forward to being in contact. Thanks, everybody.